for it. There we go. So 3, 2, and 1. Well,
All
Keith,
right.
welcome to this little segment here, WSAU, WSAU.com. Normally we call these Mayor's Monday segments, for community leaders. You're not a mayor, you're not really elected, but in a way you kind of are. I mean, you're the mayor of the Wausau School District, right?
I'm the mayor of the Wausau School District, selected by the school board, who is elected. So secondarily, I suppose, yes.
All right. Hey, there we go. We just found the loophole. So we've qualified you. But what we wanted to have you on here today for kind of an extended dialogue regarding the school referendum, which of course is going to voters in April. This is now the third election in a row. We've had one of these go before the voters. And, there's a lot of people out there that just say, why again? How many times do we have to say no? And things like that. Just give us an idea of why these things are important to you and the school district.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for asking that question. That's one we get a lot, and the why is we want to make sure that we, one, protect the community's investment. They've already invested millions in these schools, and so we want to make sure we protect that by doing all required maintenance projects, right? And secondly, we want to make sure that the schools are safe and comfortable and ready for for the kids to receive a modern education, and for our staff to deliver that education. That's the highest level answer to that question.
Yeah, because a lot of the projects that you need to do is some things like air conditioning in elementary schools. I know that's been stripped out of this one that's going to go to the voters, but something like that, might seem like just a little thing, or it might seem like something that should have happened a while ago, but it is something that makes a difference for the students.
Absolutely. For that first and last month of the year in particular, it does. And it's interesting that you say it that way. It depends on who you ask, right? For one person that is a luxury. For other people, particularly those in the schools, that's a need. And so that's part of the struggle with designing a referendum. We try to get as much input as we can, with surveys and in-person listening sessions, and but in the end of the day, we kind of have to make a decision about what we think the majority of people will support for the schools.
And before we get into why you came up with what you put in the referendum for this time around, just give us an explanation. You and I talking a little bit before this. There's a lot of metrics that go into the way schools are funded. There's a lot of I would call them advanced statistics. You might hear sports fans talk about the front office mathematicians and things like that. But the referendum process is designed to be something that the school district actually has to go through anytime they want a big project. Correct?
Correct. And let's, if you don't mind, let's look at it from the other angle, because one question we get a lot is, why can't the schools live within their means, right? Save up money to pay for these big projects. And so when I've talked to people about that, I said, so let's run that scenario through. So what we would have to do. So one, we are limited in the amount of money we can spend by our revenue limit, right? And we are there. So we can't raise more money without a referendum, which is where we're at. So that means that without a referendum, we would have to cut money. Well, in our case, that would mean we would end up cutting programming. So let's just use a number like $5 million, right? Because it's going to be a significant investment. So we cut, first of all, $5 million worth of programming, which is going to make some people pretty upset, right?
Right.
Because they benefit kids, they benefit staff, whatever it is. So let's say we do that. Now we either spend that 5 million every year on small projects, or we save it for multiple years, let's say 4 or 5 years. So now we've got 20 or $25 million. And now we've taxed the community for a savings account. People don't like that, right? And when we do go to spend it, the community has no say in that, little to no say. The board, the school board, has the final approval. So So when they say, hey, you should save up for this, that's the scenario. And when I talk that through to people, they really don't like that. In my mind, the way we're doing it right now, the referendum is the most transparent way to give the community um, say in how we're investing their dollars. So, one example we've used, we talk about roofs, right? $500,000, $1 million for a roof, and our entire capital budget's about $1 million. So I could do 1 or 2 roofs a year. Roofs have a lifetime, 20 years. With that capital budget, that's all I could do. It would be roofs. We would do no windows, doors, HVAC, heating system. Well, that is a heating system. Sidewalks and parking lots. So that's the struggle. As you and I were talking earlier, in our own houses, we either save money or we take out a loan. In this case, we think it's the best practice to take out a loan to do this really important work.
So then, and the way I understand it, and go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, with the way that the school funding works, the state gives you money saying, here, buy the books, hire the teachers, buy a computer or a tablet if you need to, if yours are outdated.
Yep.
They're not giving you the money for the building that you want, because we don't want the taxpayers maybe in Fond du Lac or Beloit or Hudson paying for a school building in Wausau that their kids are never going to set foot in. Is that kind of a fair assessment of this, and to why you might say, okay, let's go over this tax limit so we can fix these buildings because these are the community members that are going to be using them?
Yeah, that's very close. As I've said to many people on many occasions, school funding is complex. I'm happy to sit down with people and explain it, but their eyes glass over pretty quickly. But yes, in this case, because of the demographics of Wausau, because of our higher poverty levels, we actually do get about 20% of this project would be paid for by other districts, frankly. It's called tertiary aid. Not that you need to know that, but I guess I'll give it a name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about 20% of this project. So the state gives us, they set a limit, a revenue limit, and then they say, use that to do whatever you need to do, with the recognition that it's not going to be enough to build a new school or do significant remodels. That the legislature's made it very clear that they want us to have to go to the community to ask for these kinds of investments.
So if you're not happy with a referendum for an investment like this, you really have to go to your lawmakers, correct?
Yeah, if you don't want referenda, then that's state statute. That's our current operating procedure.
Indeed. And for this one, just give us an idea again. I know it's been discussed at a lot of meetings. Many people may not attend those meetings or sit through them the way that you and I do every month or so. Just give us an idea of what exactly this one comes down to, because there are some schools that are going to see significant dollars, and then there's some that aren't even going to see $1 million. In fact, most buildings in the district don't even see $1 million out of this one.
Correct. Yeah. So this particular referendum is highly focused on our secondary schools, and in particular, John Muir and Wausau West. They're our largest schools. They're our oldest secondary schools. Horace Mann and Wausau East are beautiful. They've been built, in the relatively near future, or recent past, I should say. Sorry, they built in the relatively recent past. But Wausau West is 50 years old. John Muir is 60 years old. So they each need a lot of tender loving care, roughly $30 million a piece, right? And that's going to be everything soup to nuts, right? The elementary schools, the board asked us to just focus on safety and security. So that means more secure and welcoming entrances. It also means things like communication systems, fire alarms, video surveillance, traffic, right? Better controlling traffic, and then some like just uneven pavement and elevators and things like that, that again, just make the school safe. They're safe, but that's obviously a high priority for us. And so we want to do what we can in terms of safety and security at our elementaries. Oh, I
Mhm.
should say, we do have one unique project, and that is the Environmental Learning Center at the
Mhm.
Wausau School Forest. If anybody who's gone through the Wausau school system, they've been to the school forest. It's a beloved part of our curriculum and of our district, and we're really excited to be able to build a space that will have good internet access and good security. It'll be warm. Right now we heat the Red Lodge basically with a fireplace, and the floor is kind of falling out of it, and it's charming but not really practical.
Not really a good learning environment, maybe.
Correct.
Maybe
Right.
better
Yeah.
better environment to sip hot cocoa and read the school newspaper, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love going down there for that. To go down there. And again, some people think it's going to be too modern. This is the curriculum will only be enhanced. It won't, it's still going to be outdoors, hands-on, all those things that the kids and the parents and the teachers value and love, that's still all going on.
And Keith, one more thing I wanted to kind of bring up with you as well, because obviously we said this is the third time now that you're going to the community for a building referendum. The first two have failed, so there's always a sense of, okay, well, why are we doing this again? How many times do we have to say no? Obviously, this one, it's been very well publicized. This one would actually, with the way you can structure your debt, would actually lower the tax levy, or lower the mill rate, excuse me, lower the mill rate. So it would bring the school portion of your taxes down for a couple of years. But then you're also structuring your debt in kind of a unique way to where there would be a bigger drop off 3 years from now. Is that correct?
That's probably how we will do it. Yes, because as you mentioned, we've reduced this from 180 million to just under 120. So there's still some other significant work that we have to do at the elementaries. So that would give us an opportunity one more time to go to a referendum for the elementary portion of the work, and again, hopefully not raise taxes, or not raise affect the mill rate at that time. So yes.
So this is a chance for the voters to really make a significant investment over several years then, because I guess the way I would say it is this portion is kind of a down payment for something that for all the work that you would like to get done, and there's a chance to do this and not have that big of an impact in taxes over maybe close to a 10-year period.
Right. Yeah. In this case, we would predict that the mill rate would drop by about 43 cents, which on a typical $150,000 home is about $65 a year. So we'll actually drop their taxes. And yeah, we're basically breaking this huge project up into two segments, like you say, a down payment.
So then we can expect then something again in a few years, but hopefully by that time we'll see something like this again, and it won't have a significant impact on the tax bill.
Correct. We are always mindful of the impact that that the taxes have on people's quality of life, right? And so that's why the board and administration, way before me, were very thoughtful about the way they structured debt and paid off debt early. They saved this community between $5.5 and $6 million in interest in doing so, and created this opportunity to do significant investments without raising taxes.
So then I guess my last question for you is just again, we've been making the pitch here throughout, but the one thing that you really want to tell the taxpayers right now, why you want them to support something like this, just what is that?
We want to make sure that our students and our staff, our families have safe, comfortable, schools that are really ready to nurture kids. That's all we want. And I will just correct your question a little bit, Mike, because I don't tell people to vote yes. I just give them the information. But that is the value we see. And again, protecting the community's been really good to us, and they've built these schools, and We just want to make sure they are always in a state of high quality, make sure high quality repair, I guess would be the
Mhm.
phrase.
Indeed. But just again, like, an unexpected roof repair on a house. You've got to find some way to make it work, right?
You got it. Yep. And frankly, when we do it that way, kind of, one little project at a time, we don't get as good a value as when we do large chunks of work like this, because that economy of scale really lends our contractors to really sharpen their pencils and give us the best price. So it's really a better investment for the community to do it in this way as well.
Well, Keith, we appreciate the time, and we'll again look forward to seeing where this goes in April. And we always appreciate the honesty and the candor here. I appreciate you taking some time out to chat with us like this.
Yeah, my pleasure, Mike. It's always good to talk to you.